So, I know I've done a video on this before, but I decided it'd be kind of cool to revisit it. After how big Spider-Man 2 took off, I thought it'd be kind of cool to revisit it and maybe talk about some new characters and what the gameplay would probably be. Now, Insomniac has said that, like, the Spider-Man games are, like, their equivalent to the Iron Man movies for the cinematic universe, in that this Sony-verse is the start of, starting with Spider-Man, we're spinning out into other Marvel games. Obviously, we know Wolverine is next on the list. So, we're going to be talking about, like, what other characters that should Insomniac do next. Like, what Marvel characters should get an Insomniac game next. So let's get started. First and foremost, Moonight. I think Moonight would be really cool for an Insomniac game. Reason being is because there's something really cool about, like, there's so many ways you could do this. Like, there's so many ways you could have Moon Knight in the game and how he would play. One way I think would be really cool is to how you utilize his three personalities. Obviously, Mark Spector would be Moon Knight. He would do all the fighting. You would also have, maybe, like, you could do Jake Lockley as, like, interrogator, as also, like, you could have Lockley, the Lockley persona, as, like, missions where you have to do, like, stealth missions like Mary Jane, or you're doing like bank heists. Because remember, the Jake Lockley persona was meant to be like for the criminal underworld. So you could have it like, maybe you could do like Lockley missions where he goes undercover and basically has to. Sorry, my back's kind of stiff. Anyway, basically have it that Lockley can do like robbery missions, or also like also get information on the criminal underworld, things like that. As for the Stephen Grant persona, how I would do Stephen Grant is probably have it like that character you would have, like, you could do up. That's the one where Stephen Grant is a millionaire. He does have a large company, so you could have it that, like, that's where you play Stephen Grant. That's where you like do all like doing like upgrades and whatnot. That's kind of a rough idea. I'd probably have more. Also, I would have that each of the personalities have their own fighting style. So you could do like, maybe with one personality you could do as Mark Spector, then switch to Stephen Grant, his fighting style is different, and then switch to, Mark Bagley. It'd be really cool for a combat system. I think it would be really cool for, like, especially those combo junkies out there in video games. I think that would be a really neat idea. As for villains, it's for rogues you would encounter, it's the sky's the limit, really. You could bring in, I think if you're going to do a first game, I would say Bushman would probably be should be the big villain. Maybe build up to Black Spectre in a later game, but definitely have, like, some of other Moon Knight's lesser villains. I don't know if I'd use Shadow Knight in this game or the next, but it would be a neat idea. I will say, though, I would definitely have Werewolf by Night as a boss fight in this game. I would definitely have you battling Jack Russell in this game. Anyway, so, there you go. There's Moon Knight first and foremost. But there's another character, street-level character, that really should get a lot of love as well. And I think we can all agree, we all want a Daredevil game. We all want an Insomniac Daredevil game. Obviously, playing as Matt Murdock, playing as a character that is just as popular as Spider-Man, having that free roam in Hell's Kitchen. And you could do more with, now that Fisk is still in prison, you could definitely play with a lot of other stuff like Daredevil's other villains. Obviously have Bullseye, but you could have like Mr. Fear, you could have maybe even as a main villain the Rose, Richard Fisk. You could maybe even do, like, you could have Stiltman as a gag boss like Shocker is. Like, that would be a really great scene where, like, you have to fight Stiltman, and he, like, grows super tall, and all you do is hit X and you trip him and it's over. I think that would be a lot of fun. But, like, obviously you'd have Bullseye, like maybe the Bullet, or just there's so many villains you could like utilize for that game. But also, I would love to see the radar, how Insomniac would use the radar system. I would love to see how they would use Daredevil's radar system, and hopefully not make it like detective mode in Like, I obviously would be used like probably like detective mode in the Arkham games, but give it a little more difference, please. Like, give it a little more, just a little bit more of a difference if it's all the same. Anyway, so next, and would I have Electra in this game? I don't know. Like, maybe say I don't know if I'd save her for a second game, but I would definitely save the hand for a second game. I would say, like, I would have hints to the hand, and maybe even have a stick in the game for doing like side missions. But definitely the hand would be the bigger villain, the much bigger forefront villain for a second game. But for now, I would have it more, this is about Hell's Kitchen and Daredevil trying to protect it, and then do like the hand in the second game, and maybe that's where I'd have Electra. Maybe even have like a end credit scene where I have Electra in here. But I would have Karen Page in the first game. Maybe have Bullseye kill her. Hard to say, but I don't know. Like I'm just throwing out rough ideas right out the gate. As for another Insomniac game, I would love to see is I would really love to see a Black Panther game. I would love to see like a free roam game in Wakanda. Like obviously like having New York, but like having the idea of having Wakanda as your central area, like a free roam of Wakanda would be really cool. Maybe even have like how you have Peter and Miles as like tag team, you can switch between the two. I think it'd be really cool if like you could play as T'Challa, but also switch to Shuri, who probably wouldn't be Black Panther, but but obviously Shuri does have her own gadgets and weaponry she can use. I think that would be a really neat idea, like switching for combos or switching to storylines between T'Challa and Shuri. As for main villain, a lot of people would say like Killmonger, and I'm not saying like Killmonger's like a bad idea. Killmonger's been just used a lot, obviously being like T'Challa's like biggest rival. But I would say for maybe have Claw as the main villain. Claw is very much tied in Ulysses Claw is very much tied to T'Chaka's death, so that'd be cool. I'd also love to have a mission where you play as T'Challa's grandfather and have a boss fight where you fight a young Captain America. Like kind of a reference to the Black Panther Captain America Flags of Our Fathers comic. And also the Reginald Hudlin story, too. Anyway, so next character on this list, we're going to go to our next character, and that character is Black Widow. I would love to have a game where you play as Natasha. A stealth kind of game in the vein of... rhyme there. In the vein of like the Solid Snake games or like Splinter Cell. That would be really cool. This could be a cool, and also I wouldn't have it like, I think I would definitely play with the idea of, instead of like a big free roam city, you would have like kind of like an Assassin's Creed where you could have various cities across the world to go to and free roam in those cities. That'd probably be too much of a big game of an ask. Too much of an ask for a game like that, but I'm just shooting from the hip with these ideas. So Black Widow would be a lot of fun. I would even have like I couldn't tell you who I would have in the game. Maybe have no, definitely I would have the Winter Guard in the game as well. And yeah, obviously, did you think I wasn't going to mention Steve? Yeah, I would have another. I would love to have a Captain America game. You have enough characters to really play with the idea of so many villains in it. Also, it'd be fun to have like Captain America again. Like you can do a lot of the spy stuff with, like I said, for the Black Widow game, but you could just bring it to Captain America. Plus, it'd be kind of cool. Like you could do a combat like 2 Captain Americas and have Sam in here. Or you could have Sam as Falcon, and then in the second game, he becomes his own version of Captain America. Would I have Bucky as the Winter Soldier, or as an ally? I would say, like, maybe have Bucky as a... That would actually be, like, the main thing, where you have to fight Bucky as a boss fight, and then, you know, in the second game, you can have him as your ally. So, Winter Soldier's a villain first, maybe even tie it to, like, Red Skull, and maybe for the second game, I would say, like, the villain I would have for the second game would be maybe Baron Zemo. Yeah, Baron Zemo would be really cool. Anyway, so there's another idea. Obviously another one, and this one would be kind of hard to do, but I think Insomniac can pull it off. A Ghost Rider game. I would love to have like a Ghost Rider game in the vein of like a God of War kind of thing. You could go to heaven or hell, battle your way through angels and demons, have some classic villains. Would I have Johnny Blaze or Dan Ketch? I would say John, but I would have Danny in the game too. As for other characters, I think it'd be really cool to have a game involving Gambit. Since we have Wolverine, how about another popular X-Man, Gambit? You could where I would set that game for Gambit would be New Orleans. New Orleans would be such a really cool and vibrant city. I've been there. I've been to New Orleans, and ever since I've been to New Orleans, I want to go back to New Orleans. New Orleans was a beautiful city, and I'd love to see Insomniac incorporate somewhere that, imagine like going to the French Quarter, or going to Cafe Du Monde, or stuff like that, or going to like the deep swamps. I would also have Gambit's embroiled in a war between the Thieves Guild and the Assassins Guild. Maybe even have a few other X-Men villains here and there sprinkled. But I would also have Rogue in the game, and what I would do is have like Rogue as another character you can switch to and play as in the game, and also have like combo fight styles in there too. Yeah. As for another character, Hulk, obviously I was going to throw in my favorite Marvel hero. Hulk would be so much fun. A Hulk game, especially with Insomniac, just make an updated version of Hulk Ultimate Destruction. There you go. Just make a new version of Hulk Ultimate Destruction, have the leader as the main villain, but here's the thing. I would have Devil Hulk as a antagonist in the game. And also, if I could do a second game, I would really play with the idea of Banner's other personalities. So you could become different Hulks at different time. Like you could become Joe Fixit or Savage Hulk in another. Yeah. Again, I'm just kind of like throwing out ideas, but you guys tell me in the comments below, what Marvel characters would you like to see get the Insomniac treatment? Just comment below, let me know. Once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.